So hi, I'm Ellen Taylor and I'm a first year psychology student. Even though I've only really been here for one semester, I've tried to get involved in everything. So I've become a programme rep, I've become a representative for equality and diversity, joined like cheerleading, just stuff like that. I've tried to throw myself into it, and I've realised that the more I do, the more I enjoy university life. And I want to become your faculty chair so that I can do that and also help other students get the most out of it that I can. Because the more I put into it, the more that the programme reps next year put into it, the more everyone will get into it, out of it, so yeah.
Right, I'm just really looking forward to the chance to work with more students. I know I might not get elected again, and that's completely fine because I would support both Ellen or Nicole if they were to get elected. I've talked to both of them and they're both brilliant people, but I really would like to be re-elected because I just feel like the SU is a home away from home. I've already got home away from home, which is where I live now, and I've got another home away from home here, and it's somewhere where I feel so safe and secure and warm, and it's just, I've gelled so well with everyone in the exec team. I've gelled so well with most of the students that I've met. Obviously not everyone gets on with everyone, and I'm a little bit out there for some people, but I would just love to be able to go there, represent you guys again, and continue sitting on university meetings as I have done this year.
Okay, your first question. How does your manifesto ensure that all students across all departments of HLS are fairly represented?
So one of the main points in my manifesto is about feedback. Obviously with feedback, I don't want to just say, because I do psychology, I'm just going to listen to the psychology feedback. I want to make sure I'm fairly listening to all the different programme reps. I want to introduce new creative and inventive ways of feedback, so like getting a feedback call to go in the SU, or just things like that so that people can get involved, people can anonymously feedback, and people feel comfortable to do so.
Do you want me to repeat the question? Yeah.
Sorry, I have a useless memory.
Just let me sort my timer out. How does your manifesto ensure that students across all departments of HLS are fairly represented?
Well, none of my manifesto points are course specific. I ensured that was going to happen. Obviously, some of them are much more tailored to other, did I say sports specific? I meant to say generally course specific, I don't know what I said anymore. But I've looked mainly at dialogue days. And that's something we can do across every single course there is, and we can focus it on their specific issues. So if someone has an issue with placement or with workshops, we can look at them.
And Nicole Freeman isn't here, but she sent me her answers, and she said communication with course reps within HLS faculty is important, and during meetings I'll encourage them to work together, for example, sports students with psychology to resolve issues together and as a team. So, you don't have to clap me, don't worry about it. So, second question, hopefully this isn't news to you, but your faculty is getting a new dean. How would you go about forming a new relationship?
I'm quite fortunate because I'll be sitting on a panel in April meeting the potential new dean, but I would just form this relationship the way I would with any member of staff by organising a meeting when I first become elected, if I am to be elected, and then continuing to organise top-up meetings as and when they're needed, which might be monthly or it might be whenever issues arise, whenever positives arise. It would be the same as I do for any member of staff.
So I think I'd want to have a positive attitude, I'd want to be enthusiastic, I'd want to be approachable, the same as I would be for any other member of staff, but also any other student. And one of the other main things is just to do my job properly. So if I'm not collecting the feedback, then I'm not going to make a good positive first impression. So that's one of the main things, really.
Try not to smash the microphone, Ellen. And Nicole said she would have regular meetings and communications because they're key, and she's very easy to get along with and believes a new relationship would form quite easily. So your third question, if you were to make one change to your faculty, what would it be?
The main change on my manifesto that I would change is to set up study groups. This is because being a programme rep, I've noticed that a lot of people want more contact hours, and that isn't something that the faculty chair really has the capacity to do, but by setting up study groups it would give people a chance to have more hours, have the support that they need. You could have it with different year groups all meeting together, so people that have already done that experience would be able to help each other through it.
I'd set up more dialogue days, purely so that then I know students and staff members are working together to solve issues. It's all well and good you guys giving me feedback to take to a member of staff to bring back to you guys to be amended again and again and again. But if we can all do it there and then in one group, it would be so much simpler. So that's the change I'd make, more dialogue days.
And Nicole's one change would be to encourage utilisation of placements as much as possible, ensuring students enjoy and make the most of the opportunities. Your next question, I think I'm not over my time. How would you motivate your programme reps to make as much change as possible?
I believe most programme reps are already motivated. I think the issue comes when they try and make changes and it doesn't happen the first time round. So instead of starting the motivation, because a lot of people that run are motivated, I would keep encouraging them. I keep saying, you know what, no, your lecturers are supporting you. It's just this isn't quite what we can do. We can do this though, and suggest new things if they're a little bit too adventurous for what we can do. But if somebody does come up to me and go, I don't really know what I want to do as a programme rep, then I talk through their ideas and just sit down and have a chat.
So I would motivate them basically by telling them why I got involved with it. And that's because I think because we're such a small university, there is no reason why everyone's voice shouldn't be heard. We're not a number here, we are a name, and everyone's opinion matters. And if the programme reps keep that in mind, they will go out there and get that feedback because it will make a difference.
Nicole said she would put regular meetings and updates from herself as faculty chair, promoting to help students' education time and university as motivation to make a happier campus. So your final question, how would you encourage participation from sports students?
As a psychology student, I don't want to talk too much about what sports students would want because I personally don't know that at the moment. I would go out to them, I would talk to them and see what they want, but also I wouldn't treat them differently to any different course. I just use, like I mentioned earlier, the feedback. We'll use the programme rep system and make sure that I'm getting the same amount of information and feedback from their course as any other.
I was talking with Ellen earlier about this actually, we had this exact discussion. We genuinely couldn't talk on behalf of sports reps because we're not you. It's the same as you guys probably couldn't explain what psychology issues are. But what we can say is we will go out there, we will talk to students and we would take what they say to us. And I know that's happened with a lot of sports reps, but unfortunately we haven't got a lot of sports reps this year. So the first thing I do to represent them is get those reps in, and that's something I would tackle next year because now I know that's an issue.
She'd encourage them to join intramural sport and try all of the different sports available to them and to find something they'd enjoy to participate in the long term. And if there's not a sport they enjoy, to ask them to come to them and she'd try her best to start up a new scheme. So, any questions from the floor for our HLS reps? Yes, Chloe.
So I'm a third year psychology student, and unlike, for example, physio, we don't have buddy schemes or anything where freshers can integrate with third years. What would you do to make this equal across all courses?
So what would you do surrounding buddy systems to make it equal across all of the faculty?
This has come up in meetings already, so I know exactly the issue you talk about. And what's being planned is we are starting to plan bringing up buddy schemes. We're now also looking at things that happen within courses that aren't happening in others. So I know psychology students get their references done straight away, and they get like a tutor that will do their references through the years. That doesn't happen, for example, with some sports students. They don't necessarily have a reference set. Sorry, did you say you're psychology, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would do that for everything because there are a few issues in all of it.
So it's like my point I made earlier about setting up study groups. If I could set up a study group where Year 1, Year 2 and Year 3 psychology, not just for psychology but across all the different courses, could have a chance once or twice a week to all meet together, support each other, then it would be kind of like the system but on a kind of group scale, if that makes sense.
Any other questions from the floor? Becky? Yeah.
A lot of students in the faculty play sport, and that lies on a Wednesday. And at the moment, a lot of times it clashes with timetable. How would you go about resolving this issue?
So how would you tackle timetable around clashes between Wednesday lectures and sports?
I think I personally don't have any lectures that are on a Wednesday, so I wasn't really aware of this issue, but I would talk to the lecturers around it. I would talk to everyone and see if there's any way we could rearrange the timetabling. If not, talking to sports, seeing if there's any way that they could rearrange things, just so that everyone does have the opportunities to do the different things they want to do, because I do think that's important.
There should never be lectures past 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. That's a flat out rule that the university have. If that is happening, then it needs to be addressed straight away. And if that's brought forward, obviously nothing can be done if it's not brought forwards, but as soon as that's brought forwards, I would take it to the lecturers, take it to the head of programmes, take it to the head of department, wherever it needs to go, depending on how wide scale the issue is.
Any other questions from the floor? No? Lovely. Thank you. Give a big round of applause.